you decide to stay in a hotel rather than going whatever, that's another. So I really had to take a lot of resources out of things that I was doing here that were more substantial, and put it into that. I think you have to have a lot of faith in your word. So if you say you're going to do something, you have to feel almost bound and obligated to do it. So R.I.S.E spoke about contracts, and that's really extraordinarily important. So you have to kind of make contracts with yourself. So I had called Randall the day before, and I told him, there's an opportunity I have, I'm going to rap for J.Cole. So the moment I told somebody else that I was going to do it, I felt that I would be really phony and false and fake if I didn't do it. So I think the best thing that I've learned so far is if you say you're going to do something, find a way to do it. And things will usually pan out for you. And that's kind of the thought process about that.
Amazing. And I feel like there's so much in that story. That story is like a 2-hour talk, you know what I mean? So, you know, not to dabble too much into it, but just maybe some key things as far as that story goes for anybody that doesn't quite have an understanding of what exactly took place.
Yeah, to really like sum it up like really quickly, I had an opportunity to rap for J.Cole that was gifted to me through Hip Hop Canada. It ended up getting canceled, and I spent the remainder of that day down at the concert trying to find anybody within the camp, follow cars, take down license plates, whatever we could. We found out where they were going to end up exiting. We got some people that were going to follow their cars. They ended up leaving, and I ended up going home and being like, not happy yet, so let's go to the airport. And I went to the airport, waited there for 6 hours. I ended up meeting him. I gave him my CD. When I got home, I saw an interview where he said, you know, he doesn't listen to people who give him CDs. So the next day, I saw that he worked at a country club in New York, the president of Dreamville, a couple of years prior to that. So I called like 17 of them. And I said, hi, my name's Sean, I work for Hip Hop DX, a magazine. I lied. And I said, you know, we're looking to confirm the residency of a past employee. And luckily enough, one girl said, oh yeah, I used to work here, this is his name. Once we had his first full name and where he went, we went to the white pages, we looked through, and we found 5 people with the exact same name in New York City. So we just decided we were going to go the first person on the list. And it just so happened that, you know, sold everything, went to New York City on a bus overnight. Next day in Queens, take a cab to the first address that we find. And in the story, I didn't really get into it. But yes, I went to his house. And I do not advise anybody to do that. Wouldn't do it again. But, you know, I met him.
Shot.
Yeah, I met him. I almost got shot. Yes, I did. I did. That is something that I definitely realized. I rapped for him there. And then things just started to work out for me. It's crazy because Will Smith used to say something that, you know, if you put something out to the universe, like the universe will move around for you. So every time I did something, something was reciprocated. So, you know, what I didn't put in that story is I've been waiting outside Metalworks, which is Drake's studio, like every night from like midnight to 6 a.m. for like 5 weeks. I'd skate there from my house, 30-minute skate, and I'd wait there, snow, rain, blah, blah, whatever it may be. And I'd stay outside with the Calm, the same CD. And Future, this DJ, came out every single night, and I'd give him the same CD every single night. And the final day that I went, he said, all right, this is the last day, you gotta come. The next day, I found out I was gonna rap for J.Cole. As I was walking downtown, the day I was looking for J.Cole, I actually ran into 40, who I was waiting for outside the studios, and that's why I went to the airport. And then after I went to the airport and I came back here, as soon as I put out the story 3 months later, I go to Atlanta, I see Bass 3 days after I put out the story. And I just run into him randomly 3 a.m. in the morning. I come back on Monday and I figure the story's done, time to go home. And I didn't put that in the story either, but I bumped into Rudy Gay from the Toronto Raptors. And we started talking. He's like, hey man, blah, blah, whatever. I was going to switch seats at the concert. I ran into Robert Earnshaw from Toronto FC. I wanted to move to the end of the row. The people at the row beside me happened to work at Warner Music, and they said they just got my mixtape 2 days ago, so of course I can go to the end of the row. I couldn't write it, you know, like it's every time I did something to the thing, it's the weirdest thing in the world, but everything kind of worked out. Crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, man, just real quick. quick, can I get y'all to say, like, if I want something, I can get it? Everyone just say that.
I want something I can get.
You really just gotta, if you put that out, it comes back, you know what I'm saying? So I just like, that's just something that really resonated with John's story. Like he called me every morning, like he called me at 7:30 in the morning, and I know he has something to say. You know, like I'll wake up, you know what I mean? It's all good though, this guy right here.
John,
I don't know. Give me your number.
And really quick, my big brother Mark Stoddard, you know, the name John River, can you just give people an understanding? Because I understand your name is Matthew Derek Jonathan Huey, correct?
Matthew Jonathan Huey.
Okay, cool. Matthew, okay, Jonathan first, okay.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Yes. I actually had a lot of names, but like, artist, man, do not rush your name. Do not. I was a rapper when I was 14. My name was Spaz. It was like
Spaz?
Yeah, it was the Latin word for hope. Like I googled it, I thought it was so deep, and then someone's like, you sound like a condition, like a medical condition. And I was like, I do kind of sound like a medical condition. So we had a lot of things, and it just kind of worked itself out. I was talking to my mom, she's like, yeah, you know, you can't be swearing when you know, your middle name is John, like off of the Baptist, and John the Baptist actually baptized Jesus in a river. And that's where it came from. And don't rush it. Do not rush it. Do not rush it, because you'll end up with spaz. And yeah, my mom, right? But don't tell her that. She'll get cancer. We don't want that. But yeah, don't rush your name. Don't name yourself. I try to tell people young, little, anything that you will grow out of, because you will get older and bigger. And yeah, Spaz, R.I.P. to Spaz. Moment of silence for Spaz.
All right, let's jump over to right quick to my big brother Mark Stoddard. Big brother Mark. Topic of names. You know, you don't look like a very cut out person. I mean, I've seen the temper a couple times. You know what I'm saying? But if you could tell people what corrupt means, like, you know, what's the origin of corrupt?
It's funny enough what John said. My mother, she will deny that she gave me the name, but the story came about was I was in high school. I went to Cedarburg. Anybody from Scarborough? All right. So, in Cedarburg, there was 2 art classes, and one of the teachers always tried to do the best work to get the right grades, because these guys are getting the A's and B's and stuff. So I remember it was one of our biggest assignments we had to do. And I stayed up all night, put it together, thinking, yo, I gotta get an A or a B off of this one, easily. So get to that, everybody's throwing in their assignments and he's grading them as he looks at them. I'm like, I'm golden, I'm gonna get this B or A. He just looks at it, just looks at it, C. I was like, what? So my reaction, I was like, that was like the tipping point. I just took the table, flipped it over in front of him, right? So I just went crazy. And he reacted like, what's going on? And my other teacher heard the noise and he pulled me aside. And that time he goes, I want this guy. From that I got suspended. And I think you wrote in the notes, because at that time in Cedarburg, they always have a book. If you're improving, you're failing, whatever. And I always knew that they always wanted to get me out of the Cedarburg and send me to boarding, vocational schools and stuff. They always did it for all of the students. Anybody who has some kind of learning disability, as they would call it, or not trying, they always try to ship you out. But the one thing for me, that I was good in basketball. So they always wanted to keep me based on the sport component. And I remember in the notes, because my dad, the teacher, would show it to me, and he wrote, Mark has a snowball chance in hell of passing my class.
Wow.
So I was like, whoa. I was like, kind of put aside from that. So my mom now, she came to bat for me because they wanted to send me away. And they go, oh, your son's too corrupt. He goes, no, you guys are corrupt. So from that moment, my mom said that, she went to bat and said, you know what, there's something about this word. I want to take this on, because a lot of people, perception, I always use, like, it's like even Randall, remember on Monday when okay, we'll get to that part, but. So I always said, let me take the word as a society as a negative word. And then, so 2 negative makes a positive. So when you really get to know me, you realize that I'm not corrupt. So I used the word in a way as my second business was called Corrupt Designs. So a lot of people didn't know my first name, they always remember me as corrupt. So that kept it played on within the community, especially with the urban scene. People just didn't know my first name doesn't mean that's corrupt. And so I just ran with it. And up to this day, I still run with it. So that's pretty much the name. That's how it came about.
Amazing, and on the license plate too, exactly.
Yeah, on the license plate, it definitely has it. And then recently, after R.I.S.E, which I was dropping Randall off, and then I never get pulled over. To be honest, honestly, to be honest, truth, never really got pulled over. Except the one Monday after R.I.S E, we're in the parking lot, and the police pulled us over. And the guy was just asking questions. So why do you use the word corrupt? I'm curious. And they kept bothering us. Because they could have nothing on us. But they kept asking that question because they wanted to know why would this guy keep using that word. What's it really annoying?
All right, well, I mean, I just want to go into as far as your artwork, you know what I mean? Like, you're well known for a lot of things that you do. I'm just going to drop a couple things that, you know, that I've been aware that you've done just recently. You know, I went to, not only is he a designer, but he also goes into schools to teach young people about branding. And, you know, we like, honestly, as you walk or as you realize being an artist or just being a human being, you literally are your own brand. Every time you step outside your door, people are watching you. People are watching your emotions, your actions, from down to the way you walk. You are your own brand. You know, and this man has taught me the importance of branding, you know what I mean, of being your brand, represent. You know, a lot of people don't know is, you know, you've done things for G98. I believe the G98 logo was designed by this man himself, as well as CBC. He's been on CBC, a TV show on CBC called, that's that TV show that you were on recently, a few years ago.
Oh, the Star Portraits?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. So, like, as far as, you know, the company that you have done, like, what inspires your art? You know what I mean? What is it that inspires your art? How have you been able to sustain yourself, you know, by doing these things?
What inspires me is the struggles of our people and the way it inspires me. Their story is important to keep because it's funny enough that a lot of people like to dilute it or change it up a little bit. So I'm just trying to bring it back to the forefront of what our accomplishments of what we've done is needed to be talked about. It's essential.